Should you get the iPhone SE2 here in 2025? So the iPhone SE2 came out back in 2020, which was almost 5 years ago. And in this video, I'll be explaining to you whether or not you should get it here almost half a decade later. So first off, let's go over the design, and then we'll cover the specs and whether or not it's still worth buying. So first off, with the design, the iPhone SE2 has a 4.7-inch screen from one corner to the other. And this is actually really small considering that later iPhones, like the iPhone 16 Pro, have 6.3-inch displays. And on the back, the entire back of this device is fully made out of glass. And one feature that I really like about this is that it has a very small camera. So when you're trying to use the device, it won't really get in the way like it does on modern iPhones. And let's now move on to the specs. So starting off with the camera, the iPhone SE does have a decent camera, but it's not all that good. It could take up to 4K 60 videos on the rear camera, and the rear camera can also take up to 12 megapixel photos. And as for the front camera, it could take 1080p videos at 60 frames per second, and the photo quality is at 12 megapixels as well. And moving on to the battery life, the iPhone SE doesn't have a good battery at all. It has just 2000 mAh, and for comparison, more modern iPhones like the iPhone 16 Pro have about 3,500 mAh, and the 16 Pro Max has about 4,500. So this device definitely doesn't have a good battery. So if you do use your phone a lot, then this definitely won't be the choice for you. And that's really all there is to cover for the battery of this iPhone. Let's now talk about the display. So like I mentioned at the start of the video, the screen size is only 4.7 inches from one corner to the other. And the screen resolution is 750 by 1334. So it's only high enough for you to watch HD videos. But because the device is so small, the screen resolution won't matter as much because you can't really notice it. And let's now talk about the software support and whether or not you'll be able to get the latest updates. So the iPhone SE2 does still get the latest software updates. So as you can see here, it does have iOS 18 right now. And my guess is that it'll still get the latest software support until around 2027. So it doesn't have a whole lot of time left. So before we talk about whether or not it's still worth buying, let's go over the speeds of this iPhone. So the iPhone SE 2nd generation has the Apple A13 chip with also 3GB of RAM. So it's basically the same speeds as the iPhone 11. So let's now talk about whether or not it's still worth buying. So for most of you, if you're willing to spend more, I would recommend going for a different iPhone, like the iPhone 12 mini, which costs about $200. But if you're just trying to spend the least possible that you can on an iPhone, and you don't really care a whole lot about the battery life or the camera, then I could definitely recommend getting the iPhone SE2, because it'll cost you less than $100. And if the battery life does matter to you a lot, then I could also recommend going for the iPhone 8 Plus. And I will also leave a link for all my other iPhone reviews down below, so be sure to check them out if you're interested. And that's basically it for this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out my channel to see more videos like this in the future.